Now, when you turn the key on, maybe. Look at that. What's up, guys? Working on Missy's Crown Victoria today. Putting in some goodies. See her goodies? New stereo. The front face of words dash cam. And while I got the stereo and the dash cam going in and the stereo out, we might as well run all our wiring for the sub we'll have in the trunk one day. So now we'll go ahead and get started on getting this old stereo out of this here 97 Ford Crown Victoria. And when you come up on these old 90s Ford cars that have this big stereo with these holes on the side, see these 4 holes? There's a tool for that you can get at your local auto parts store. They're like 10 bucks. You take these 2 loopy-loop guys, and supposedly we should be able just to slide them in. Whoop, squeeze them together. It's supposed to slide in there about 1 inch and then click, and then we should be able to pull it out. Nope, maybe not. Oh, I think it's moving. This one came out. Oh, that clicked further. Hey. So you have to push on these fairly hard, and they'll click like once, and then they slide in further and they'll click again, and then you can just rip it right out. Look at that. Holy. And then we can come back here to the back side, unplug our antenna wire, and then here's one plug, and here's the other plug. Now just like that, that's the factory stereo out with its bull bar attachments. You can crash into things now. So this is what comes in your box with the new stereo. See, we got some screws, a little wiring harness, instructions, the faceplate deal, and the stereo. This is definitely, oh wow. This is definitely lighter than the stereo we just pulled out, and here's why. Can you see inside there? Can you guys see inside? Can you tell they're just filling the space? Wow. There's like one circuit board in the little screen up front, and that thing's empty. Right on. Wiring diagram, that's always really important. So these are speakers this way, and this is power that way. All this tab work around the inside here that held the old stereo doesn't allow the new one to fit. So we might have to do some removaling of those. Alright. So now we've got enough of our plastic trimmed out of the way and the stereo fits into place. We can finally start wiring it in, but wait till you guys see what I had to do to make it fit. See, it's the stereo with the trim piece. Looking nice, looking nice. But you have never seen a warranty more voided than this. Oh my god! Yeah, you see what we did? Let me show you guys something. Right here is the old stereo with the bull bar attachment. And you see the way it's shaped? Yeah, somebody wasn't thinking when they made the new stereo, were they? So if you'll notice, right here in the dash, this top of the dash comes and curves down. That's the air duct for right here. You probably don't want to cut into that. So I had to trim and get you close. I had to trim all on here and get this bottom tab out of the way, get the top tab out of the way. Had to cut way into this bottom trim, take the tabs off of here, and then after that, we still, when this came straight out and bent down, it ran into this air duct and wouldn't slide in all the way. So yeah, never seen a warranty more voided, but it does fit now. Check it out. And of course that affects nothing on the inside because all our electronics are way down here. So yeah, they sure could have designed this little case a bit differently, don't you think, maybe? But now we've gotten past that part. She slides into place. Let's start cutting and slicing. Whew, and making our power goes where it needs to go. Top to bottom there. See, to start with, car radio power constant, 12-volt wire. That's the pink with the light blue. And then we come over here. This is the speakers. This is the power. And if you look, the light blue wire with the pink stripe, that's the constant power. And then this one over here is the ground. That yellow wire with the black stripe is the accessory wire. So that's the one we're going to tie into for our dash camera we'll be installing. Alright, now this has been throwing me off really bad, but I finally figured out where what needs to go. See here on the stereo, we've got the red wire is the accessory power, the yellow wire is battery, black is ground, and then we got blue and black we're not using, is for like a power antenna. And what I have figured out is from our wiring diagram, this wire here off of our original plug, that wire is constant power, and this one is the switched power, so when you turn your key on, it gets power. So what we got to do is this orange and black wire, which is the dimmer, goes to our constant power. So what I've done here is the ground from the stereo is going to the ground, and then my power wire is running to this mysterious green with the yellow stripe wire. And then I've got my accessory red wire, and this orange with a black stripe wire off the stereo is the dimmer wire. And I have both of those running to this yellow one, which is the accessory wire, so when you turn the key on, this gets power. So maybe these are ready to splice in. This I think I can just tape out of the way and finish up with some solder and tape the ground, the power, and our accessory power. We got my dash cam box opened up over here, and you'll see when you if you go buy a dash cam, it'll come with all this long wire, and that wire has one of these guys on the end of it to plug into your cigarette lighter, but that's just as inconvenient as all get out, trust me. So what I've done here is I got my wire run this far. See where I'm through the dash under here? You can take this in here and cut that off, and you've got two different wires inside here, and they are alright where I did it. See, we got our camera plumbed off of the power in the dash, and as it turns out, you can't just cut this wire and run it into the power. If I was more of an electrician, I'd have known that already, because the camera takes 5 volts and the car has 12 volts. And inside this doohickey here is the resistor type deal. And what happens when you crack one of these open is there's a, here in the end, there's a black wire and the spring. and I got the part the spring goes to wired over to my hot wire, and the black wire is run up here to my other ground. So this ground is feeding that, and that's coming off of the positive. And you see right here I got my little green light on because the power is turned on, and then when we shut the key off, then the little green light goes off. So that's what you got to do to have this wired into your keyed power, so you're not plugging and unplugging it as you need your dash camera to turn off. The more you know. And we also know if you cut this wire and plumb it straight to 12 volts and plug it into that little dash cam, it will blow it up. This dash camera, no works so good anymore. That's why we're plumbing in my old camera. Well, the more you know. Now we got all our speaker wires wired in where they go. All 8 of them. 2 wires per the 4 speakers. Now see, we got ourselves all separated out on our harness. Here's our speakers, here's our power. Here's our goofy looking power to our dash cam. And you might as well go ahead and tape everything out like this, where it's all tight together. It takes up less space in the dash that way. So it shouldn't be too terribly hard to get that mess to fit back in there behind the stereo. But before we stick the stereo in, almost there, we're going to go in our amp wiring harness kit here, and we're going to plumb in our RCA wires. They're going to come through the back down there, and also our little blue power on trigger wire, I think it's called. It's going to come in and it'll tie into right here. Now I've got my little blue trigger wire ran to the remote turn on, that's what it says. This is the remote turn on wire, and we got our trigger wire for our amp we're going to have in the future plugged into there. Now, when you turn the key on, maybe, look at that. Check that out. See, the stereo lights up and the dash cam comes on. Now we should see if the stereo works. Aha! And look at that. Shut the key off and things go off. Oh my goodness, what I did! Woohoo! Get that mess out of there. Oh my god. Buddy.